Hello, everyone, and welcome to another new Zelda Dungeon mailbag. We got another hot one coming for you. And just in case, before we get started, I want everyone to go leave more questions down below. We got a lot of good ones for this next one. We almost have a little bit of a theme, so let's just get right into it. How about that?
Right in there.
Bat Rogue, once again, back in the comments, asking, kind of like how we see Tingle, the Postman, or Beetle across multiple games, is there any NPC from any previous Zelda that you'd like to see becoming a reoccurring character? When I read this, I started thinking about Breath of the Wild, because I was thinking about what are the new like iconic characters in Breath of the Wild that we could see coming back, and so I immediately went to Hestu, right? Because I thought
Yes.
that's like
I could see that.
and it's kind of fits the characteristics of these other ones mentioned, like kind of silly, kind of fun. So I thought Hestu. I thought of Cass. I thought Cass was cool. It'd be cool to see another Cass-like character. What do you guys think?
I think if we're talking Breath of the Wild, which I know we're not just talking Breath of the Wild, I think Bolson would be kind of fun as like a recurring like strange construction man, which is sort of a recurring character in its own way.
Yeah.
But he's the strange construction man.
It's probably not as realistic as any of those other ones, but an NPC that I really like is Scrapper. And
Okay.
it would kind of be weird because you would have to like bring back the ancient robots in some way in those games, but
Maybe
like
they
if
will
they
in
do
the
that,
sky.
yeah. I would love to see that little sassy robot come back. He's a delight.
My first thought was also the dancers from Majora's Mask for some reason was the first thing that popped into my head. Like
Yeah, it was fun. We got a lot of those type of characters like through the Oracle games. I remember like they took a lot of characters and brought them in, and like Minish Cap, I remember having like people like Malon and stuff like that. So it'd be cool to even see some of those era of character. Like remember like Mamu Yan or whatever, who had the dog. She's in a few different games.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to see
yeah.
those little random ones that only appeared in like 2 or 3 games. You know.
You know who are more recurring characters that are recurring characters, but we need to see more of are the oracles themselves. They're
Agreed.
awesome.
Okay, we got a question from Liz. We saw Zelda struggle with her birthright of being Hylia reborn and her duty to Hyrule and Breath of the Wild. Do you think we might see a reincarnation of Link or Ganondorf struggling or resisting their inevitable fate? That was sort of what kind of like something Nico you hinted at wanted to see, like maybe like a Ganondorf kind of like, oh, I don't want to be like this.
I don't know if necessarily I want Ganon or Ganondorf to like be the good guy that's struggling with it. I'd like him to be more charismatic, but still like definitely a bad dude. I honestly don't see that because as far as Ganon goes, I think Ganon has to be pure evil. And as far as Link goes, the idea of struggling with being the hero doesn't make a lot of sense to me because they want you to be Link, you know, so they want you to overcome the obstacles, but I don't think it's necessarily struggling with the idea of being the hero itself. And a Wind Waker plays a really good example of this in the fact that you're just some kid, you know, he's just going to save his sister from this giant evil bird, totally normal thing. And then he turns out to be, you know, like the hero of the winds, and he saves his, well, he kind of saves it, right? I guess he does. He goes off to find a new land, you know? So, I don't know. That's the biggest thing of, like, overcoming, and he's a silent hero. He's not meant to have those thoughts, I guess. I don't know.
It depends on the game, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the best, I don't know about Ganondorf, but I think the best and most realistic way would be for Link. And it would, even then I'm still kind of skeptical because they would have to go that route of kind of like you're pushing off your destiny type thing.
Yeah.
Like maybe he doesn't want to get wrapped up in all this stuff, but like you end up having to for one reason or another. And they've kind of played with that a little bit, even like in Wind Waker, where it's like you're kind of just doing it for your sister at first, but then instantly you're just like, yeah, okay, I'll save the world, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the hook of a lot of Zelda games is something personal, and then it becomes like a larger thing. So that's more of, I expect that sort of with the Link thing. And then I hinted in the last one about like the idea of, I don't know if they'd care to do this. I don't know if I would care about it that much, but I could sort of see them maybe doing like, if you brought like demise into the picture. There's a thing I like a lot in like a lot of good, like, you have this a lot with like villains and like a lot of like action movies I like, where like there's sort of a conflict between like the main villain and then like his kind of like main henchman or guy. I could see like Ganondorf sort of being like if Demise came in, they could both be evil, but they sort of have this conflict, and maybe either he turns good or maybe he's like,
I'm more evil.
Yeah. And I mean, we have seen this. We've seen it with Ganon and Zant. We've seen it with Demise and Girahim. It's been done, you know? And so it wouldn't surprise me if something like that happened again.
Our old pal Anubite asks, which side character from the series would you like to have their own game like Tingle did, and what game would it be?
Bolson, and it's a Hateno Village farming sim.
Oh, yeah, farming
I want
sim,
my Zelda farming sim.
That is a good one.
I don't know.
I feel like I've answered this before, but I can't quite think. I've seen people pitch all the time, like, oh, like a beetle shopkeeper game or something.
That's what I was gonna say. Something like, what's that game where you need to, it's like a dungeon crawler, you have to go get stuff from dungeons and then sell them when you come back to town?
Moonlighter, yeah.
Yeah, yep. Like that, but with Beetle.
I feel like Dampe would be in that too.
Yeah.
I think just give Tingle another game.
Give Tingle another game?
True too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He needs more. He doesn't get.
There's one game, I saw McKenna playing this one game that was called like, it was like a cemetery type game. I can't even remember what it was called, but it was sort of like a Stardew Valley type game, but a little spooky, and I could see like a Dampe game. I don't think they would do that though. I'm still more on the track of, I like the idea, I like what they've done lately. Well, they've only really done it with the one game, but like I like the idea of maybe not specifically spinning off a character in the series, but spinning off Zelda into another series, like Crypt or whatever, and just seeing the like, basically Crypt is like, what if A Link to the Past or whatever, like a classic Zelda game, was instead this type of game.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I would like to see. Like, just take whoever and be like, give us your spin on Zelda.
You just gotta Nintendo's just gotta let indie developers get their hands on the Zelda IP, and we will get countless incredible games. As long as they have the quality control through Nintendo, we're set.
Yeah.
We're set.
Let some other people take the reins.
I mean, I think Cadence of Hyrule speaks to that too, because even for not liking rhythm games at all, I despise rhythm games, and I'm a musician. I don't get it either. But that game is amazing, especially the Skull Kid DLC. I love the Skull Kid DLC.
What about Zora Rock Band?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Heck yeah.
Where you get all the songs from the series, and you get it. It comes with a big plastic fish guitar.
Yeah! Yeah!
Baby! P-Dog is back and asks, what's the most important element of a dungeon in a Zelda game? For starters, I would say it depends. I think a good Zelda game should have a variety of dungeons. Definitely. So it's kind of hard to say like, this makes a good dungeon. I think there's a video on Zelda Dungeons YouTube where we talk about what makes a good dungeon, and I would say maybe just like a really consistent theme. And I don't just mean like, oh, it's a fire dungeon, but like thinking of the setting, and like, you know, if it's like Hyrule Castle feels like a castle, like in Breath of the Wild, I love that. Or like this one's a tower, so maybe it's more linear, but it's about building suspense, you know, as you go up the tower. So they all like do different things, but I feel like as long as you have like a really like consistent, unique idea for the overall puzzle or whatever navigating the dungeon, that's what makes it cool. Whether it's simple or complex, you know.
That's a super hard thing to answer because different dungeons, there's so many different types of dungeons that do different things.
Yeah.
So I guess my answer, which is kind of a cop out, but it's as long as the dungeon has at least one thing that it's going for that it's good at. Whether that be really puzzle heavy or intentionally really action heavy gauntlet, or it's just super focused on the setting and the location. Because any of those dungeons can be considered good dungeons, at least in my eyes, as long as they do what they're trying to do good.
My first thought was a sense of discovery, because it's kind of like a little like overarching of like whatever kind of dungeon it is. I want to be surprised when I solve a puzzle and like this wall disappears, or I pick up this key but I haven't seen a single door that needs a key yet, and I end up like unlocking a chest or something instead, and that's like all I've discovered this whole time, and it's like, whoa, I found something interesting. Like I think that sense of discovery, be it for puzzle solving, finding secret rooms, using your new items, things like that, I think like that's the whole idea of a Zelda dungeon, is discovery, finding new things, solving puzzles, while also fighting. So I don't know, I think just in general that sense of wonder, excitement, and adventure, you know.
Yeah, that's a great point. Like Zelda, all about discovery. I think that's
wonder,
that's
excitement,
key.
adventure, discovery.
Oh, yeah.
Wead. Those are the 4 arches of Zelda.
Yeah.
All right, one final question. Thanks to everyone who asked questions. We got one more from Radiant Noir. I love all our regulars that are keeping us going, really.
It's nice to hear your names again.
You're carrying us on your back. Iji Anuma mentioned that in Breath of the Wild 2, it would take place on the ground and in the skies above, and he said that the expanded world goes beyond that. Any ideas on what he meant by beyond? And I think we've sort of had a similar question, like what else you would explore. We sort of talked about like the underworld and stuff like that. We talked about maybe like a dark world,
or a spirit world.
Zelda in space.
Because do you think that's what Anuma meant by beyond? Is like, I don't think he meant a dark world.
You know what
like,
else is beyond? Infinity.
Just pure speculation wise, what do you think they mean? Do you think there's gonna be more than, I'm guessing I feel like it'll be a different land.
I personally think,
I don't know,
that a dark world is what they want to go for.
Okay.
In my opinion.
So they can reuse assets, but it's different.
Exactly. That's what it makes the most sense to me. We haven't had a dark world in a 3D game since, I guess, Twilight Princess. I guess.
Yeah, that's sort of,
But like,
that's kind of like
what
they're going for.
Because think about it, they're reusing the map. What's a good way to make it completely new and different? Slap a dark world on it. You know? Yeah.
That's something that, like, I don't know if it'll be like literally a dark world in the same vein as like A Link to the Past, but I do think it's probably going to be some sort of heavily altered version of the same world in some way, whether it's from a completely different time period, because some people are thinking there's going to be time travel or whatever. But this is something that I've been racking my brain with ever since they first started talking about this game, when they were like, hey, it's pretty much going to be in the same or a similar Hyrule, and I was like, how are you doing that?
That can't be true.
Yeah,
that can't be true. That's not the Wead strategy of Zelda.
No, that's not Wead.
That's not in the 4 pillars. I will say,
not very Wead of you.
That's not very Wead of Nintendo. I think you're right, Corey, because it's like, it's got to be a dark world or time travel or like a low roll, high roll situation or something, because Nintendo would not. They know better than that. You know, they're more creative than that.
What if you go up to the sky and you're on the Sky Islands, and then all of a sudden they're like, and they fly away, and then it's like, oh no, we're over a different
spot.
Yeah, I would love it if every time you land on like, and you like go to a specific spot on the islands, it's just like,
yeah, it's like a Mario platform. It's like you step on it and it starts going.
Now
You're
arriving
like,
at Low Rule Station.
Here's what I think they're gonna do. The next
Trains!
Zelda game.
Trains! We need trains!
Oh,
Trains.
that's a great idea.
Put trains in.
In sky,
Put a train
in
on the cover
sky.
too.
Sky trains.
No, what I think they're gonna do is, you get on the platform, it starts moving. All of a sudden, the camera changes, and you're in a scrolling level from Super Mario Brothers, and the whole game is just that. And you're like, oh no! I think it'll be The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild 2: the scrolling levels from Super Mario Brothers 3.
Lost scrolling levels. 2.
We made some more.
This is the reason they haven't given us the title yet, is because it's called The Legend of Zelda Odyssey, and it's actually just Super Mario Odyssey, but you play as Link in Hyrule. That's it.
And
I cracked the code.
And they reused the world from that, but they added some sky stuff.
It all takes place in New Donk City.
Something that I do think maybe they could do realistically is like it's not a parallel world, but like all that we've really seen pop out of the ground is the land below Hyrule Castle. But what if it's a thing where like whatever that catalyst is starts shooting up like a bunch of chunks of the overworld. So it's basically like the same Hyrule but Swiss cheese. So like you can go in the holes and it's underground, but the stuff that gets lifted is like sky rule.
If they use the term Sky Rule, I swear to Hylia, I will come after you.
Legend of
Sky
Zelda
Rule.
Rise of Sky Rule. That's why they didn't
Rise
tell us what
of
it is.
Sky Rule.
You heard it here first.
Here we
That's
go.
the title.
This
of
is gonna
the
come
next
out.
Game.
Okay, we are recording this. I'm gonna
Breath
date
of
us
the Wild
again.
2 leaked.
We're recording
It's like
this
a
on
month ahead of
July
recording.
6th. It's so early, but if it's announced between now and then, I swear.
All right. Well, that was a great mailbag.
you
Thanks to
guys.
everyone again. What we eventually got to do is maybe we'll give everyone a theme of questions to comment. But I didn't think of that beforehand because we did have side characters here. But I don't know. Ask us more about Breath of the Wild 2.
Yeah.
Maybe ask us more about dungeons. Yeah, these
Love
were great
talking
questions. Yeah. And with that, I guess we will see everybody next month.
I
All
already
right,
forgot
so-
them. Oh no.
Wonder, excitement, adventure, discovery.
Yeah, obviously.
We nailed it.